Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. Happy weekend. Today, I'm going to be addressing a sluggish metabolism. So many of us struggle or have struggled with a sluggish metabolism because of all the crash dieting that we've done. There are also some of us that have medical conditions that have led to a sluggish or very slow metabolism. So I am going to give you some strategies for this type of situation that can still lead to weight loss in spite of a sluggish metabolism. In fact, these strategies are not only going to help you lose fat as strategies in and by themselves, but they are also going to help you lose fat by increasing your metabolism and helping you to repair your metabolism. Now, I have to throw out this caveat because this is super important. I am a doctor, but I am a doctor of psychology. I am not a medical doctor. So these strategies, if you're going to try them, I really urge you to first get clearance from your physician before you do these strategies, okay? Not that these strategies are so drastic or anything like that, but especially if you're struggling with some kind of medical condition or medical complication, you definitely want to get clearance from a medical doctor. I mean, this is just good practice whenever we're starting a weight loss program and an exercise program to get clearance from our physician. Okay. And even more importantly, if you have some kind of medical issue. So there are essentially two sides of the equation for losing weight, right? In terms of the caloric deficit. There is taking in less calories, right? Or reducing the amount of calories we consume. And there is increasing the amount of calories that we're burning off or expending, and that would be through exercise, okay? So if you have tried to lose weight in the past by cutting your calories out or reducing the amount of calories you're taking in each day, and you have not seen any significant progress, and you basically concluded that it's because your metabolism is very slow or sluggish, and maybe even your doctor has told you you have a sluggish or slow metabolism, and maybe there's an actual medical explanation for it. Regardless, you can still work with a slow metabolism, but you have to recruit a very special strategy. And the strategy is focusing more on the other side of the equation, which is expending more calories. Exercise is going to be your best friend if this is a condition that you're dealing with, for two reasons, two very significant reasons. One, exercise burns calories. Great. But more importantly, the exercises that I'm going to be promoting can help repair your metabolism, can help your metabolism speed up so that you are burning more calories when you're not working out. What kind of exercise am I talking about? Specific kinds of exercise. The two types of exercise that do this really well are resistance-based training and HIIT training, which is an acronym for high intensity interval training. Now, I've put out videos about these two types of exercises before, but I'm going to be applying them more specifically to a sluggish metabolism and to these kinds of difficulties. If you keep everything the same in terms of your eating, but the main changes that you make in your lifestyle are to add resistance-based training and possibly some version of HIIT training, that alone can put you in a deficit. That alone can help you actually lose the weight. there's a very real possibility. I can't guarantee it, but there's definitely a high potential that that could do the trick. Now, because you're only relying on one side of the equation, right? In a perfect ideal world, what we'd want to do is rely on both sides of the equation. We'd want to expend some extra calories through exercise, and we'd want to not take in so many calories by reducing the amount of food we eat, right? But in this case, if your metabolism is already sluggish, by reducing calories may not really be so effective at this point in time, because that may actually contribute more to the sluggish metabolism. Why would that happen? Well, believe it or not, when you eat, that actually gives your metabolism a boost. And you might say, well, heck, my metabolism should be off the charts if that's the case. Yes, but the problem is that we overeat our metabolism, right? In other words, we still take in way too many calories for that to be a benefit, okay? Now, if we're restricting our calories and our metabolism is really sluggish, that could actually lead to the metabolism staying sluggish, or possibly even getting a little bit more sluggish if it's a drastic calorie reduction. Now, you know, from everything that I've been preaching, I never preach a drastic calorie reduction plan or any kind of crash diet or anything like that, because they actually do really wreak havoc on our metabolism. But even a very small deficit that's very sensible, while it may not lead to your metabolism getting more damaged or become even slower, it certainly is not going to help fix it. And so what I am basically promoting here is a way of potentially fixing it, and a way of helping you lose weight in spite of it, okay? What you're gonna wanna do, since you're not reducing calories, is you're gonna put a major emphasis on exercise. Since it's only one side of the equation that we're able to really work with here, we have to give it a really wholehearted effort. So while a sensible plan that's typical might be you reduce some calories and then you exercise 3 times a week, you're going to want to exercise 6 times a week if you can. If you can do 5, then do 5, but as many days as you can. The frequency here is super, super important, because every day is an opportunity to ramp up that metabolism, and you don't want to let any opportunity go by. So you really want to try to do this at least 6 days a week. Or I should say, definitely 5 days a week, but ideally 6 days a week. How long should you do it for? You don't need to do it for that long. So I know a lot of you already, your mouths are dropping. 6 days a week. Yeah, 6 days a week, but I'm talking about like a half an hour. And really, you don't need to do it longer than that. 40 minutes tops, okay? If you're doing it in an efficient way. If you're planning on taking long breaks in between your sets, when you're doing your resistance-based exercises, or you want to hang out and gossip with people at the gym for a while before you get into your exercise plan, then it will take longer. But if you want to get there, get the job done, and get the heck out, a half an hour, okay? What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to alternate days where you're doing resistance-based exercise with days where you're doing HIIT exercise, which is cardio, okay? Now, resistance-based exercises, namely, we're talking about free weights or weight machines and things like that. You can also do body weight exercises like pull-ups and push-ups and things like that. But you want to be doing these anaerobic, not aerobic, anaerobic exercises, right? because these exercises can build muscle. Doing these exercises will burn calories. That's great. But doing these exercises, more importantly, will build muscle. And the more muscle you have, the more your metabolism will get ramped up. Think of it this way. The more muscle you have on your body, it takes a lot of calories, a lot more calories to maintain muscle than it does fat. And so your body needs more energy, which is basically what calories are, to basically sustain this increased muscle size that you now have. The bigger your muscles get, the more calories you need to sustain it, okay? So remember yesterday how I was saying that the more weight you lose and the less weight you actually are results in lower metabolic needs. So therefore your calorie needs change. You don't need as many calories to sustain a smaller size, okay? Just like that, if you have a bigger size in terms of muscles, you need more calories to sustain a bigger size. You need more calories to sustain a bigger size regardless, even if it's due to having a lot of extra body fat. But even more so if most of your body composition is muscle, okay? Now, you don't have to be a bodybuilder to get this benefit. You just have to build your muscles so that they are bigger than they are right now, and you will get a real metabolic benefit from it. This is going to help repair your metabolism or help improve your metabolism. Every week, if you're building a little muscle here, a little muscle there, this overall machine, our body, right, is going to be a fat burning furnace, more so and more so and more so each week that we put on some more muscle. And I know, ladies, a lot of you have concerns that you're going to start working out with weights and you're going to be this ginormous person with these huge muscles. And for some women, they don't like that. Some men don't like that. I can assure you, you do not have to worry about overnight becoming this huge built person with these ginormous muscles. It takes a lot of work to get to that place. It takes many, many years and a lot of effort to get to that point. So you don't have to worry about that. And the muscle that you put on will also improve the way that you look, because you'll be more toned, you'll look more fit, your muscles and arms and legs will be more taut. So it's an overall win, especially if you have this kind of situation, right? Resistance-based exercises are huge. Now, cardio is great for burning fat, but HIIT cardio is really good, not only for burning fat while you're doing the exercise, but for increasing your metabolism when you're not exercising. Research has shown that we burn a lot more calories after a HIIT cardio exercise as compared to a regular steady state cardio exercise. What is HIIT? HIIT is high intensity interval training. And what it basically means is you alternate periods of low intensity with periods of high intensity work. If you're on a treadmill and you're walking 3 miles per hour for a minute, and then you increase the treadmill to 6 miles per hour and do that for a minute, and then go back to 3 miles per hour, a nice walk, and then 6 miles per hour, a nice light jog, that is a version of HIIT. The high intensity does not have to be super high. And I certainly don't want you to do a super high intensity interval if you haven't been exercising for a while. And I definitely don't want you to do this without your doctor's approval, of course. But what you have to understand is any movement towards more output in terms of the work that we're doing during this exercise means you're going to get more of a metabolic benefit. So, and you can start off very slow. You can do like a walk at 3 miles per hour or even 2 miles per hour, and then increase it to a 4 mile per hour walk. And then maybe like each week, that high intensity interval of 4 miles per hour, you increase a little bit, 4.1 one week, and then 4.2 the next week, and 4.3. And you just keep gradually getting to a more and more intense level. And intense, you know, sometimes that's a bit of a misnomer, because it doesn't have to be so intense where you're like dying after it, right? It shouldn't be like that. Certainly, there are fitness models and athletes that definitely work out like that with HIIT training. That's not what I'm promoting for you. I'm just promoting this idea of a more modified version of the more extreme version, so that you get that metabolic benefit, okay? And start off small and gradually increase that intensity, that high intensity interval. That's the work interval. The rest interval should feel like you're catching your breath again, you're coming back down, and then the high intensity interval will feel, as you wean yourself into it, where it requires some effort, some more effort for sure, but you're able to do it. And then you're gradually pushing yourself each week, right? For those of you like me who have bad joints, especially my knee joints, swimming is always a great option. You could do a fast freestyle stroke from one end of the pool to the other, and then come back with like a very slow, lazy person's backstroke, is what they call that, right? Or a very slow kind of breaststroke, where you're just, you know, taking your time getting back to the other side of the pool again. You can do bicycling. For 1 minute, you have a nice slow pace. And then for another minute, maybe you put it in a higher gear and you really try to, you know, push it a little bit more for that minute and really gain some speed. And then for the next minute, you come down again and you downshift the gears and do a nice light cruise for a minute, and so on and so on. And then every week, just trying to push it a little bit more during that high intensity or work interval, okay? Some of you may not be at a point where high intensity interval training of any sorts, even trying to wean yourself into it, is an option, because you may be too overweight, and it might stress your joints too much, or you just don't have the cardiovascular capacity to do that right now, and that's fine. But you should still be able to do resistance-based or weight training. You definitely should still be doing that, because those movements are very slow and controlled. Okay, when I'm pressing weight over my head, I'm not doing it like this. It's not cardio. I'm doing it very slow and controlled. In fact, the slower that you do it, the more benefit that you get. It's called time under pressure. The longer your muscles have to work against a weight, the bigger they will get. So even if you have some kind of cardiovascular issues, you should still be able to do that. Again, clear it with your doctor. Now, that doesn't mean that you should say, oh, so then I'm only going to do resistance-based weight training and I won't do any cardio, because no, just because you might not be ready to do any kind of HIIT cardio, regular cardio can still give you a metabolic boost as well. Any exercise can. It won't give you as much as HIIT, but it will still give you a metabolic boost, and it will still help to repair metabolism. So on the days when you're not doing resistance-based exercises, you can do steady state cardio. You know, a moderate pace on the treadmill, whether it be walking or something like that, or on the stationary bike, a moderate pace swimming. You can still do some sort of cardio. They have aqua aerobics, where it tends to be very low impact. You can do that. You can do a low intensity aerobics class. And, actually, while we're talking about aerobics classes, some aerobics classes are going to be more like HIIT, where the aerobics instructor has like more of this resting kind of interval, and then they up the intensity and they bring it down again. And then other aerobics classes will be more like steady state. That is a question you'd have to ask the instructor, okay? One more strategy here that has to do with the other side of the equation, not in terms of reducing the calories, but trying to get a metabolic boost from the way we eat. How the heck do we do that? How do we get a metabolic boost from the way we eat? Well, many experts believe that if you eat more meals a day, that can actually enhance your metabolism. So now we are not talking about eating more food each day. We're talking about eating more meals, which means it's the same amount of calories that you would normally eat, but just spread over more meals. So let's say you typically consume 3,000 calories a day, and you usually eat about 3 meals a day. So that would be 1,000 calories for morning, breakfast, then lunch and dinner. If you can spread those calories out over more meals so that you're maybe eating 6 times a day, which is twice as many meals, but only 500 calories at each meal, a lot of experts believe that that's going to give you a metabolic boost. So that's one strategy you can do. The other strategy you can do is greatly increasing your protein intake. And again, not eating more, just changing the composition of your meals so that more of your calories are coming from protein than fat and carbs. What does that have to do with increasing your metabolism? Well, one, if you're working out with weights or doing resistance-based exercises, then you're going to need extra protein to build those muscles. So that works really well with that plan. But secondly, a lot of experts believe that protein takes a lot more energy or calories to digest than the other macronutrients, being fat and carbs. So you may get a metabolic boost simply by changing those ratios and taking in more protein, okay? You don't have to go on a ketogenic diet. That's not what I'm, espousing here. You don't have to do a low carb diet. We're simply just talking about consuming more protein than we normally do, but keeping the calories the same. That's all. You can still have your carbs and you can still have your fats, but just trying to take in more protein. And if that's difficult in terms of meal preparation, and you're like, oh my God, 6 meals a day? That's a pain in the butt. It is a pain in the butt. Here's a simple fix. You can buy a protein powder and make a protein shake, and you can have 1, 2, or even 3 of them a day that can replace meals. I mean, basically, they will actually serve as a meal. So breakfast, lunch, dinner, and 3 protein shakes at different points in the day would be 6 meals. Some people have certain medical conditions, especially that have to do with their kidneys, where taking in too much protein may not be a good thing. Again, clear this with your doctor, okay? But assuming that you got the all clear from your doctor, these are the strategies that will help you fix your sluggish metabolism. Work on the other side of the equation. This is Dr. Fields, and I'll have more to say at another time. Have a great weekend, everyone.